What's up everybody, and welcome to the channel. In today's video we are going to be doing the inevitable 5 things I hate about my car video. Here's the thing though, for this particular one, I cannot honestly even title this video that. This is my Lamborghini Gallardo. I don't literally have things that I actually hate about this car, so I can't make the normal 5 things I hate about my Lamborghini Gallardo video. These videos I've done on all the cars I've ever owned. They are really helpful to consumers. If you're looking to buy a car, it is really nice to have a video out there that actually shows you the downfalls. Obviously on YouTube, we love telling you about how amazing all of our cars are. You know, every channel does that. We love all the cars that we own, obviously. However, if you're looking to buy a car, there are some downfalls. So today's video is kind of a different take on it, genuinely, because nothing sucks about this. This thing's awesome the way it is. I love the character that this car offers. However, this is an interesting car. It is not your typical vehicle. So today's video is more of 5 things that they might take some getting used to if you're gonna own this car. 5 things that some people might hate about this car. And if any of these things deter you from buying it, then you should definitely not buy this car. So it's an interesting car to say the least. There are some things that could have been better. Obviously, Lamborghini, they could have done a few little things better. Don't know why they didn't. Does it make me not want to buy this car or own this car anymore? Obviously not. So with that said, moving on to point number 1. This is the one thing that I really wish was a little better with the car. This is gonna make some of you laugh, especially knowing this is a mid-engine old supercar. It is how you open the trunk. Now, here is the key fob for this car. There is a lock button and there is an unlock button. That is all you have. Here's my complaint. The only way to open the trunk is to go in through the driver's door and pull the manual latch, like on your typical car for popping the hood. So, opening up the door, and it is in here. Pull that manual latch, and that is going to pop the front trunk to then be able to open it. From here, of course, grab this, and you can open it. Now, here is my complaint. The Audi R8 came out right about when the 2nd gen Gallardo was introduced. The Audi R8 is on the same platform. These are shared cars. The Audi R8 has always had a trunk button on the key fob. My brother has owned a 2010 and a 2012 R8. There's a button on the key fob to pop the trunk to then grab the latch and open it. It would be so much more convenient to be able to just pop the trunk. I use this car, I also keep it on a battery tender. You know, when I drive this car, I walk out to my garage. If I have things with me, I gotta put them down in front of the car, walk around, open the door, grab that latch, get out of the car, close the door, walk back around, and then open up the trunk. It is a little annoying. Obviously, it's only 10 seconds or so, but it would be so nice to just walk into the garage, press the button, put my stuff in the trunk. It'd be so much more convenient. On top of that, if we do like a small grocery shopping trip, walking up to the car, once again, I gotta put my stuff on the ground, unlock the car, open the door, reach down, grab the lever, close the door, walk back around, open up the trunk, and put things in the trunk. So yes, I use this car for more than just being a show car like maybe some Lamborghini owners, but the Audi R8 had a trunk button. Why didn't they do it at least on the 2nd gen Gallardos? I can understand the 1st gen, that was their first usable supercar. I get it, that was 20 years ago. But when the 2nd gen came out, they had the resources to have a trunk button on the key fob, and I really would have liked that. Does it make me hate this car and not want to ever drive it again? No, but every time my wife and I have to do that, we laugh about it because it's kind of silly to have to put everything down and do all those steps when you could have had a button on the key fob. Number 2 on the list is the interior ergonomics. Like I said, this is a little bit different of a typical car. It's not your typical car. So there are some things for the inside that you just have to get used to on how they operate. First point is the window switches. So the window switches are right here on the center of the vehicle. These little cool looking toggles. Now there's modern vehicles that have that, Jeeps, Broncos, things like that are in the center. However, of course, for me, I've never owned a car where your window switches are in the center. And the first couple weeks I would reach towards the door to put the windows down and then remember that they are in the center. So that'll take a little bit getting used to. Next up, for the USA cars, we have technically a blank switch. This toggle right here is for fog lights. It does nothing on an American car. I believe the rear fog light is underneath the rear license plate on European cars and other countries. But every car will have that fog light switch. However, US cars, it does nothing. There's no light back there. So you have a blank switch, which is kind of weird. Another one is the cup holder. Now, a cup holder was an option for this car. You can see it sitting right there. The standard item right there is a little tiny glove box that I would assume is absolutely useless. but you have one cup holder to share between 2 passengers. Now, I always have a water bottle with me, so does my wife. Obviously, I get to use the cup holder whenever we are in this car together, and she is left holding her water bottle or sticking it in the cargo net behind. So I'm glad there was an option of a cup holder, but it's funny how a car would have that as an option. Obviously, you know, it's like a supercar or whatever, but I'm glad it does have at least the one cup holder. I didn't know it had that before I bought it, so I was really excited about that, but a little odd. Next up is the garage door buttons, which that is something that I did not expect this car to have. So you can see it sitting up there. However, that location is a little awkward to do, especially, you know, if you're driving into your house, you're looking out your bright windshield, then you got to look up to a dark area. You got to let your eyes adjust real quick, press the button. This is also blocking your view, and then you can do what you got to do. So it does take your eyes off the road a little bit. Obviously, you're going slow in your neighborhood or backing out of your driveway, but I wouldn't mind, like on the Audi R8, it's just sitting right on the ceiling, really easy to do. Next up with interior ergonomics is the paddle shifters for these e-gear cars. As you can tell, they are steering column mounted, so they don't move with your steering wheel. However, given they're only about 1.5 inches tall, you have to move your hands if you are turning and shifting at the same time to make a gear change. Modern cars that have steering column mounted paddles are much larger, like on a 458 or a Huracan. Now, when the Gallardo came out, that was one of the first cars with these e-gear, you know, hydraulically actuated floppy paddle gearboxes, as Top Gear would say. So they maybe didn't really think of it all. I mean, the Ferrari 430 has the same kind of thing. On top of that, your stock for the wipers along the turn signal are really low compared to your typical car because the shifters are in the way. So that takes a little bit getting used to. And then the last thing, the interior makes a lot of loud beep noises. When you shut the car off for like 20 seconds, you hear a really loud beep. And then a few other things make some ding noises whenever you click buttons. Number 3 on the list is the dashboard on this car. Now, it is really, really long. It takes a lot of getting used to just the view out the front of this car. I can reach really far and still not even touch where the bottom of the glass touches the dash. So it's a little weird just getting used to a long dashboard. You can't see the hood at all, so it just takes a little bit looking out of the front of this car. On top of that, on a cloudy day, you might even be able to notice the glare that is on the dashboard. I wouldn't say it's horrible, however, you totally notice it. I can see the air vents on the top of the dash on the glass. Hopefully you're able to see that. Now, what I have noticed, if you wear polarized sunglasses, that solves it. It takes all the glare away. And when it's sunny out, you definitely notice the glare, especially if you're driving through the woods where you're going through shaded spots and sunny spots, you know, really quickly. It is just like flashing lights on the dash. It's not the worst. Like, there are some cars with lighter colored dashes that would be a lot worse than this, but it is definitely something I have noticed. Moving on to point number 4 is the transmission. So the e-gear car, it is a single clutch, hydraulically actuated manual transmission. It is the same transmission that is in the 6-speed gated manual car. My complaint or thing to point out is I like it. I like the character. It is fun. I don't like is when people review these cars who may not have a lot of experience driving them, have only ever driven one that has a slipping clutch that is really old and beat up, or driving it in the sense of comparing it to a modern dual clutch. This is not as quick as a dual clutch you'll find in a Huracan. It's an older transmission. However, to me, I love the character. It makes this car incredibly fun to drive because it beats you up. It kicks you in the back on the gear changes because it is mechanical. That's the only way it can shift, is to disengage and re-engage the clutch, and it beats you up. So it is really fun. I love the character. And when you talk to people who actually own these cars, we like these. We like the character. It adds drama. It's really fun. And what I don't like is when you see like the big reviewers, especially over the last 10 years when this car was more popular, the big reviewers would complain about it. And that would make people who have never driven the car instantly always say, well, the e-gear sucks, doesn't it? It's horrible, it's unreliable, it's awful. So you get a whole bunch of people who have never driven the car who already hate it because they've heard some big reviewers say that it's not the best. So that is kind of annoying just hearing that. And I've seen other people's videos on other cars where it's like, if you've never driven it, you don't really have the best opinion. And that's something I've had to do in reviews that I do on cars. Obviously, I review cars for a living, and there are times when I've driven a car one time, 20 miles, I can't really have an opinion about every aspect of that car because I don't have enough seat time. I have over 2,000 miles of seat time in this car. I've owned it for 6 months. You know, I know this transmission pretty well. And as long as you think of this e-gear system as if it were a stick shift manual, it makes sense with how it operates, the shifting times and things like that. Now, if you take it out of Sport or Corsa, go into normal mode, automatic or things like that, it is a little lazy. Don't expect to be in normal mode automatic and think you're gonna floor it and get all the power. Like giving it some gas now, it didn't downshift at all. It just stayed in 5th gear and just slowly got up and went. Hasn't even downshift as I slow down. So no, you don't want to drive this car like it's a high performance automatic, because it is not that. You want to drive this car in the mindset of it is a manual transmission. So you take it out of automatic mode, go into manual mode, Sport or Corsa, depending on how quick you want those shifts to be, and the fun comes alive. So the character in this car is awesome. You just got to know that it is a character-filled transmission. And if you don't have the seat time, or if you've only ever driven one 5 miles around the block, or one that's a slipping clutch, you know, yeah, you're probably not going to have the best experience. If you drive one that's in good shape, modern cars do not have drama like that. They have to artificially tune the transmission to do stuff like that. So the character's awesome in this car. So there you all go. 5 things I don't really hate, but could be less than ideal, I guess, for some people for the Lamborghini Gallardo. Overall, to me, the character, the fun factor, the drama, it is too amazing. I love all the little things about it. There are definitely some things though that take getting used to. It is not your typical car, especially if you're gonna drive it quite a lot like I do. But there you guys go, my take on the classic 5 things I hate about my car video. I'm very impressed with myself that I genuinely can't make this video. I like the car too much. So hope you enjoyed today's video. For those of you looking to buy a Gallardo, I would recommend it. Little things you gotta get used to, and that is about it for the ownership of having something like this. It is definitely well worth it. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, stay tuned for plenty more content. I'll see you all in the next video.